President Trump, as he ordered the Pentagon to pursue moving forward with a version of the Iron Dome. If you don't know the Iron Dome in Israel, you've seen it massively successful as a missile defense system. And President Trump even spoke about this a little on the campaign trail, but very directly yesterday.
I'm directing our new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who's going to be great, by the way. Thank you for the support. Thank you very much for the support. You really did support him greatly. I think he's going to be fantastic. I know him very well. I think he's going to be fantastic. He's what we need to immediately begin the construction of a state-of-the-art Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will be able to protect Americans. You know, we protect other countries, but we don't protect ourselves. And when Ronald Reagan wanted to do it many years ago, luckily we didn't. We didn't have the technology then. It was a concept, but we didn't. And now we have phenomenal technology. You see that with Israel, where out of 319 rockets, they knocked down just about every one of them. So I think the United States is entitled to that, and everything will be made right here in the USA, 100%.
So a missile defense system not dissimilar to what is happening in Israel. Now, obviously, Israel, a much smaller country. Maybe you don't want to say easier to defend, but maybe it's a little bit closer of where they're also the hostile to them countries are. They're pretty much all around them. So it's a little bit different a situation, but the technology is getting there. As he mentioned, Ronald Reagan, obviously that was the Star Wars initiative that we've all heard about over and over and over again. But now you have someone like an Elon Musk. Now you have a direct access to NASA and SpaceX, and then plus just traditional, like what they have in Israel. We're not shooting rockets necessarily from space, but a defense system that can knock these out. Now, I'm sure that some version of this that we have in certain areas of the country. We know there is missile defense that exists. However, this would be a much wider look at it, and hopefully something that will keep us safe.
One thing that is a contrast from the previous administration, where we saw spy balloons traversing the entire continental United States, you see the drones sparking concern across the country. Americans didn't feel safe at home. Now, President Trump doesn't want to start foreign wars. He has been very much, I will not start a new war. He didn't in his first term. But one thing that has been lacking out of the use of the American military and defense is creating these capabilities to fight next generation battles. And when you think about Russia has already used their hypersonic missiles within Ukraine, they've tested them, they know they work. That's a big concern. And when you have a dated missile defense system in America, it's not like we don't already have missile defense system, but it needs to be updated. And the fact that we actually developed the technology with the Israelis to make their Iron Dome so effective and successful, now it's time to use that partnership, what we helped develop for them, and bring it here and not just copy it, but make it effective for the United States. Now, obviously, much larger country. We don't have, though, enemies that are on our borders surrounding us by all sides like the Israelis do. So when you look at things like hypersonic missiles, ballistic missiles, these are things that can get to the United States very quickly and attack the population centers that would cause havoc. Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Miami, big banking centers, big industrial centers, big commerce centers. And so having something that can protect the United States from a very quick, no-notice attack from these advanced weaponry, that's what the president is trying to do. He's trying to update our military defense capabilities, something that has been lacking by previous administrations, in order to move us in the future to protect Americans at home so we don't have to get in another foreign war.
It's also, as I said, the peace through strength, knowing that it's there will deter people. And then what it does also, and what it does in Israel, which it may not deter those in Israel, send hundreds and hundreds of rockets. A lot of those are short-range rockets as well as missiles from those areas. But what it does is there's almost a certainty that 99.9% will be taken care of. So if you're the American people walking around, that's another worry that you don't have to have. And that's what they did in Israel. They created this Iron Dome. But by the way, in Israel, very much a worry they should have, because this was happening and is still happening. We've seen those almost what look like fireworks shows happening in the skies over Jerusalem, over Tel Aviv, over the coastal areas of Israel. We've seen that over and over again. And you see those response, I don't even know what you call them, I guess missiles that destroy missiles from the Iron Dome take care of business. And the Israelis don't have to walk around as concerned. when that happens. Hopefully that's something we can maybe bring to America.
In the order to the Secretary of Defense preparing the plan, it says that the second item is defense of the United States. This is the architecture shall include at a minimum plans for defense of the United States against ballistic, hypersonic, advanced cruise missiles, and other next-generation aerial attacks from peer-to-peer, near-peer, or rogue adversaries. And it has other bullet points referencing hypersonic and ballistic tracking space sensor layer, development and deployment of proliferated space-based interceptors capable of boost phase intercept. This isn't just make us the Iron Dome to shoot down rudimentary rockets that may be fired from a bordering adversarial state. This is actually the opposite of that. This is recognizing that China has advanced weaponry. Russia has this advanced weaponry they're already using. North Korea, very buddy-buddy with Russia right now, has troops there fighting in Ukraine. We know that they're a rogue nation. They would be in that near-peer or rogue nation category because they aren't necessarily as kind to the world about, hey, Russia, give us the hypersonic, we'll put a warhead on it, and we'll take out Washington, D.C. That's what the threat is. It's not the same as Palestinian and Islamic Jihad shooting rudimentary rockets, but it's the same in concept to protect the homeland from adversarial attacks.
Many Americans have always said, if the technology exists to protect us in this way, why not have it for America? And so it feels like common sense. If other countries have this protection, why doesn't the United States, the greatest country in the history of the world? So for Donald Trump to just say, hey, we want this, I think most Americans say, yeah, it makes sense. Now, we understand Israel is much smaller, and so it's going to be way more complicated to have an Iron Dome over the United States. But the technology exists. We can absolutely do it. It's just going to take some ingenuity and push, and that's what Donald Trump really excels at.
And I even told Will, it's almost overwhelming at times how much is getting done so quickly, and whether you turn to what happened with Colombia, you turn to what happened with all the executive orders that have come in, and all of the quick action that has happened when we have been so used to never seeing inside the Oval Office, to never hearing from our president, from very rarely hearing even less from the vice president. And now you have a president who is welcoming people to the White House, who has J.D. Vance out there doing pretty mainstream big interviews over the weekend that are tough. It is a different tone. And now you have even a moment like this where they go, yeah, not only do I think we should try this Iron Dome situation, let's start moving forward. This is such a different America a week later. And it's almost, it could stress you out a little bit because we're just not used to this kind of action. We're not used to the, as they say, peace through strength that is going through right now.